Game over. Kody divorces Aurora, remarries, and Robyn fights to the death. Hello friends, I am Elena. Welcome to my channel. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Kody Brown's life has never been conventional, but this latest turn shocked even his most devoted followers. After years of defending his plural marriage values and trying to maintain control of a broken family, Kody made a move no one saw coming. He legally divorced Aurora, a woman who had once been like a daughter to him, then married someone entirely new. And while the headlines screamed scandal, the real chaos was still to come, because Robyn Brown, his long-standing wife and once closest ally, didn't take the betrayal quietly. Instead, she went to war. The unraveling began quietly at first. Kody and Aurora had always shared a strange dynamic. She had grown up in his household as Robyn's daughter, adopted legally by Kody during the early years of his marriage to Robyn. As Aurora entered adulthood, their relationship took on more complexity. Rumors swirled. Public speculated. But no one imagined Kody would take such a drastic step as to dissolve the father-daughter tie in order to legally marry her. Till that is exactly what he did. In a series of rapid legal filings, Kody first annulled the adoption. He then filed for divorce from Robyn, who had remained his only legal wife for years after the rest of the sister wives either spiritually or legally left him. Then came the shocker. He married Aurora in a quiet courthouse ceremony. There was no TLC camera crew, no wedding gowns, no sister wives. Just Kody, Aurora, and a clerk who probably had no idea how bizarre the moment actually was. The marriage sent the entire Brown family into a tailspin. Christine, Janelle, and Mary, who had long since distanced themselves from Kody, released cryptic social media posts condemning the decision. Fans speculated that this was the final nail in the coffin of the family. But the real storm was building inside Robyn. Publicly, she said little. Privately, however, she spiraled into a dark place. Robyn viewed Kody's betrayal as not just a personal loss but an existential threat. Aurora had always been her daughter, her child to protect, not a romantic rival. Watching her husband claim Aurora as his new bride shattered every illusion Robyn had clung to. She felt robbed. Robyn had given up so much for Kody, her independence, her finances, her extended family. And now he had replaced her with someone who once called her Mom. Robyn didn't beg for reconciliation. She didn't cry on camera. Instead, she launched a public war, a scorched earth battle to destroy Kody's reputation, reclaim Aurora, and expose what she believed to be his manipulative, controlling behavior. In exclusive interviews, Robyn accused Kody of grooming Aurora for years. She claimed that even before the divorce, there were signs of emotional and psychological manipulation. She said she had warned Aurora, tried to protect her, but the damage had already been done. As Robyn's allegations went public, Kody retreated. He canceled interviews, stopped making public appearances, and even went silent on social media. For a man who once prided himself on being the face of a modern polygamist family, the silence was deafening. Aurora, newly married and legally severed from her former mother, took on a new role as Kody's spokesperson. She denied all accusations, painting Robyn as an unstable, who couldn't handle being replaced. Legal filings began to pile up. Robyn sued for emotional damages, citing mental abuse and exploitation. She also fought for custody of her younger children, arguing that Kody was no longer a fit parent. The legal war was messy, drawn out, and widely covered by the media. Former Sister Wives cast members were subpoenaed for statements. Old footage was re-examined. Secrets long buried were brought to light. Meanwhile, Kody attempted to build a new narrative. He presented his relationship with Aurora as one of destiny, two souls brought together by mutual understanding, shared experience, and adult consent. He insisted there had been no impropriety, that Aurora was of legal age and made her choices freely. But the optics were damning. For years, Kody had raised Aurora like a daughter, and now he was calling her his wife. Pressure continued to mount. Petitions were filed by fans and critics alike, demanding that TLC cancel any future programming involving Kody. Aurora lost brand deals and sponsorships. Their marriage, once portrayed as a fresh start, began to crumble under the weight of public opinion and private guilt. Robyn, fueled by rage and heartbreak, refused to back down. In a final act of desperation, she released private journals, recordings, and emails documenting what she claimed was Kody's decades-long pattern of control, gaslighting, and emotional manipulation, not just toward her but toward every woman he had ever married. The revelations were devastating. Public sympathy, once split, now tilted dramatically in Robyn's favor. Kody's new marriage was exposed for what many saw as a tragic power play. His once loyal fans began to question his motives. Aurora herself started to withdraw from public life. The once defiant couple became increasingly reclusive, avoiding the spotlight they once thrived under. Robyn, having lost everything, her husband, her daughter, her family unit, emerged as a warrior. She turned her pain into activism, aligning with women's advocacy groups, speaking out about familial abuse, and warning others about the dangers of charismatic authority in closed communities. In the end, Kody didn't just lose his wives. He lost his legacy. What had started as a reality show experiment in love, faith, and family had ended in disgrace. Game Over wasn't just a headline, it was the final chapter in the Brown family saga. And Robyn, who once claimed to be the most loyal of them all, ended up being the one to burn it all down. While Kody and Aurora quietly disappeared into the background, Robyn kept fighting, not for revenge anymore, but for truth, for healing, and for the future of others who had been silenced in similar ways. Fans of Sister Wives have long followed the lives of the Brown family, watching as Kody Brown and his multiple wives raised a large and often complicated blended family. Among those children, two names that have become increasingly discussed in fan circles are Aurora and Brianna Brown, the daughters of Kody and his current legal wife Robyn. With recent developments in the family dynamic and the girls' exposure on national television, a growing number of fans have voiced a very specific concern: that Aurora and Brianna may not be equipped to survive in the real world on their own. For years, Robyn has maintained a very protective household. Viewers have often commented on how she treats her children with a level of emotional cushioning that may have unintended consequences. Aurora and Brianna, who have spent most of their teenage years under the constant guidance and supervision of Robyn and Kody, appear to have been shielded from many of the life skills typically developed in early adulthood. This has led to rising anxiety from longtime fans who believe the girls may struggle when they eventually need to step out on their own. Aurora, in particular, has become a focal point for these concerns. As she has grown older, fans have noted how deeply dependent she seems to be on her mother and Kody. From shared family moments to larger life decisions, Aurora appears to lean heavily on Robyn's emotional direction. While close family relationships can be beneficial, fans fear that the lack of independence being encouraged in Aurora's life could hurt her long-term development. Whether it's in handling finances, navigating personal relationships, or making career decisions, there is a worry that Aurora has not been given the space or responsibility to make choices for herself. Brianna, while quieter and more private than Aurora, also comes under scrutiny from fans who worry she has followed a similar path. Though she's not as publicly expressive or central to storylines as her sister, Brianna is still viewed through the lens of Robyn's household, where many feel growth is stunted by overprotection and a lack of exposure to normal adolescent challenges. Concern isn't about who Brianna is personally, but how little viewers have seen of her being challenged or encouraged to explore life independently. Critics of the Brown family's parenting structure believe that this problem stems from Kody's heavy favoritism toward Robyn and her children. Since the other wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine, have slowly distanced themselves from Kody, he has become almost exclusively involved in Robyn's home. This concentration of attention has not only created tension within the broader family but has also isolated Aurora and Brianna from the kind of sibling rivalry, compromise, and practical challenges that the other Brown children have faced. When fans look at the older Brown children like Maddie, Logan, or Michael T., they see young adults who have moved out, formed their own identities, and taken real steps into adulthood. Many of these kids held jobs early, went to college, married, and began families of their own without constant interference. Aurora and Brianna, on the other hand, are seen as still emotionally and financially attached to their parents' household. This imbalance has created an image of Robyn's children being raised in a bubble that may pop harshly when real-world responsibilities come calling. There is also the question of emotional resilience. Public moments in the series have shown Aurora struggling with anxiety and high emotional sensitivity. While mental health struggles are very real and valid, fans feel that Robyn's approach may be unintentionally reinforcing dependency rather than fostering coping mechanisms. Critics argue that instead of empowering Aurora to work through challenges, Robyn often swoops in with excessive comfort, limiting growth opportunities. Brianna's apparent disconnection from much of the broader family drama may seem like a blessing, but some fans see it as another example of emotional sheltering. While it's understandable that parents want to protect their children, shielding them from every hardship can leave them unprepared for life's inevitable difficulties. With the Brown family's fame and the pressures that come with it, Aurora and Brianna are in a unique position where the public eye watches closely, but that same spotlight may also insulate them from normal peer interactions and life skills. What makes the issue even more complex is that neither Aurora nor Brianna chose to be on reality TV. The older siblings who had more time and age to process the effects of the show, these two girls were thrust into fame early. The added scrutiny could add in confusion, further increasing their reliance on Robyn for emotional regulation and decision-making. Fans are not suggesting that Aurora and Brianna are incapable young women, but they are voicing concern that the structure around them may not be preparing them for independent adulthood. Whether it's paying bills, navigating college, finding employment, or managing relationships outside the home, viewers feel that the safety net Robyn has created may be too tight to allow true growth. Protective bubble, while formed with love, might also be limiting their ability to stretch and develop outside their comfort zones. Supporters of Robyn argue that her parenting style is just different, more nurturing, more cautious, and deeply emotionally involved. But even these defenders acknowledge that sooner or later, Aurora and Brianna will need to forge paths of their own. Without the tools that come from gradual, guided independence, fans worry that their transition into adulthood may come with more confusion, setbacks, or dependence on others to carry them forward. As Sister Wives continues and the spotlight remains on the Brown family, it's likely that more focus will be placed on Aurora and Brianna's steps in life. Will they go to college? Will they get jobs? Will they move out and make their own decisions? Fans will be watching closely, hoping that behind the scenes, these young women are being prepared for a life beyond their parents' protective gaze. Sister Wives fans are speaking out more than ever, and their attention has recently turned toward Robyn Brown's daughters Aurora and Brianna. Concern surrounding their well-being is growing as more fans question how they are adjusting to life outside the confines of the tight-knit yet controversial family dynamic. With their upbringing heavily influenced by Kody and Robyn's decisions, many viewers believe these young women may not be fully prepared to navigate the real world on their own. Throughout the years, viewers have seen Aurora and Brianna appear regularly on the show, often portrayed as obedient, soft-spoken, and fiercely loyal to their mother. However, their sheltered lifestyle, largely removed from the broader world, has raised red flags. Fans online now question whether these young women have been equipped with the emotional tools and life skills necessary to thrive independently. Aurora Brown, in particular, has been at the center of many fan discussions. Her on-camera panic attacks, her deep attachment to Robyn, and her seemingly limited social circle all suggest a young woman grappling with anxiety and possible codependency. Fans have repeatedly noted how Aurora seems unable to function comfortably in environments outside of Robyn's presence. The concern is not meant to shame Aurora but to highlight a possible lack of preparation for adult life. Brianna, on the other hand, presents a quieter profile. She has not exhibited the same level of emotional outbursts as Aurora, but fans believe that doesn't mean she's coping better. Her reserved behavior could be a sign of internalizing the family's stress, especially given the dramatic breakdowns, public criticisms, and separation between Robyn and the rest of the Brown family. Brianna has grown up in the shadow of these conflicts, and some fear she has learned to suppress rather than process her emotions. Kody Brown's involvement in their lives is also a critical point of discussion. While Kody has claimed to be deeply invested in Robyn's children, viewers have increasingly questioned the quality of that involvement. Critics argue that Kody shows favoritism toward Robyn and her kids, yet fans suggest that this favoritism is more performative than substantive. True fatherly involvement means preparing your children for independence and resilience, not keeping them emotionally dependent on the nuclear bubble of a polygamous household. One major area of concern fans have raised involves education and employment. It remains unclear what direction Aurora and Brianna are taking with their careers or studies. There has been little mention of their long-term goals or plans outside of Robyn's influence. Fans worry that without a solid educational foundation or career path, the sisters could struggle once they are required to stand on their own. In a world that demands adaptability, critical thinking, and self-sufficiency, both girls may find themselves unprepared if they remain cloistered in Robyn's household. Mental health is also at the forefront of fan discussions. Aurora's on-screen panic attacks are more than just dramatic moments for reality TV. They signal a young woman battling intense psychological stress. Fans are urging the family, especially Robyn, to acknowledge these red flags and seek appropriate support. Mental health cannot be treated with just protection and shelter. It requires professional guidance, exposure, and confidence building in real-life situations. The broader issue is the parenting style Robyn has adopted. While she appears to be a caring and deeply protective mother, some fans argue that she may have unintentionally created a dependent dynamic. By constantly emphasizing protection and loyalty, Robyn may have stifled her daughter's growth, discouraging independence in favor of control. This kind of parenting, fans say, can lead to adults who fear taking risks, making mistakes, or facing challenges head-on. Moreover, the isolation of Robyn and her children from the rest of the Brown family has left Aurora and Brianna with limited access to differing perspectives. Exposure to multiple viewpoints and family structures is essential for emotional and intellectual development. The increasingly strained relationships between Robyn and Kody's other wives have likely robbed Aurora and Brianna of diverse influences, reinforcing a narrow worldview dominated by one parent's narrative. Fans on forums like Reddit, Facebook groups, and YouTube comments continue to debate the long-term outcomes for Aurora and Brianna. Some believe the girls still have time to grow, evolve, and claim their independence. Others fear they are already too entrenched in a dependent cycle, especially given Robyn's fierce control and emotional sway. The show's producers have not helped matters either. Instead of focusing on the girls' development or growth, the show often places them in the background, serving as extensions of Robyn's storyline. This lack of individual focus has made it difficult for fans to assess whether Aurora and Brianna are making strides toward autonomy. It also reflects how little the show values their journeys compared to the central drama around Kody and his crumbling relationships. Many fans have expressed that their concern is not rooted in criticism of Aurora or Brianna themselves, but rather a deep empathy for their situation. The girls didn't choose to grow up in the public eye or in a family riddled with division, favoritism, and emotional upheaval. They have become, in many ways, collateral damage of Kody and Robyn's decisions, and now the world is watching to see how they will manage adulthood. It's not too late, fans say, for both Aurora and Brianna to step into their own light. But that journey will require space from the cameras, from the family's ongoing drama, and perhaps even from Robyn's overprotection. Supporters hope the girls can find mentors, build friendships outside of the family, pursue education and therapy, and take control of their narratives. In the end, the concern expressed by Sister Wives fans isn't idle gossip. It's a genuine call for reflection. Are Aurora and Brianna being equipped for adulthood? Are they emotionally stable, socially adaptable, and mentally prepared? Or are they being held back? Fans aren't looking for perfect outcomes, but they are hoping for growth. And until they see Aurora and Brianna claim their independence, the concern will remain. Robyn Brown, known to many as the most devoted and protective of Kody Brown's wives on the long-running reality series Sister Wives, is reportedly feeling uneasy about a surprising turn in her daughters' lives. Brianna and Aurora Brown, two of her 3 children from her previous marriage whom Kody legally adopted, have recently embraced a level of religious faith that's leaving Robyn deeply concerned. This development is not just a personal transformation for the girls, but also a new source of tension within the already fractured Brown family dynamic. According to sources close to the family, Brianna and Aurora have taken a strong interest in a more traditional, conservative interpretation of faith than the one the Brown family originally followed. While the Browns were once active participants in the Apostolic United Brethren (AUB), a fundamentalist Mormon group that supports polygamy, many of the adult children have since walked away from religious life entirely. In contrast, Brianna and Aurora seem to be going in the opposite direction. Their renewed dedication to religious study, prayer, and involvement in conservative faith-based communities is something that Robyn apparently did not anticipate. Though she had long hoped her children would remain spiritually grounded, the extremity and independence of their commitment has caught her off guard. What started as simple church attendance and personal Bible reading has grown into something far more intense, including talk of modesty, purity culture, and even disapproval of certain choices Robyn herself has made. Robyn reportedly fears that this newfound direction may isolate Brianna and Aurora from the rest of the family. Most of Kody's other children have distanced themselves from religion, or at least from the strict doctrines they were raised with. For Robyn, the idea that her daughters are leaning into a lifestyle that others in the family have left behind is a recipe for division and alienation. One source claimed that Robyn has been alarmed by recent conversations in which her daughters questioned the family's past decisions, including the choice to be on reality television, the family's openness about plural marriage, and the public airing of their personal lives. Brianna and Aurora have reportedly started to express regret or discomfort about their years in the spotlight, calling into question decisions their mother made while they were minors. This spiritual shift seems to have created subtle but growing tensions in the household. While Robyn was initially proud of their desire to be good girls and lead morally grounded lives, she's now worried they are embracing views that judge her and others harshly. There have even been hints that the girls are considering distancing themselves from aspects of pop culture and social media, an ironic move given the family's fame is built on television. Some insiders suggest that Aurora in particular has become increasingly vocal about wanting a lifestyle centered around spiritual purity and traditional roles. This includes wearing more conservative clothing, limiting interactions with secular influences, and even talking about courtship instead of dating, practices that harken back to older fundamentalist ideals. While Robyn once supported similar values, she seems hesitant about the girls readopting those frameworks in such an extreme, almost separatist way. Robyn reportedly confided to close friends that she feels like she's losing her daughters emotionally, not because they're rebelling, but because they are becoming something she no longer recognizes. The irony is heavy. While many parents fear their kids will reject religious values, Robyn fears her daughters may be embracing them so completely that they'll withdraw from family, culture, and her influence altogether. Kody, for his part, is said to be largely disengaged from the situation. His relationships with many of his older children have deteriorated, and though he remains closest to Robyn and her kids, he hasn't taken an active role in addressing the spiritual developments in Brianna and Aurora. In the past, he has expressed a general belief in religious freedom and encouraged his children to find their own path. But behind the scenes, it's said that he doesn't fully grasp the depth of what's happening in his youngest daughter's spiritual journey. The Greater Sister Wives community, including viewers and fans, has also started to take notice. Online discussions have grown around Brianna and Aurora's visible shift in demeanor. From their social media changes to comments made in more recent interviews and specials, fans have begun speculating about how far their transformation may go. Some even worry that the girls may be gravitating toward a lifestyle that is isolating or potentially controlling. Robyn's may also stem from her own complicated history with religion. While she once championed faith and obedience to spiritual principles, she's also used faith to justify choices that benefited her household, including her legal marriage to Kody and the dissolution of his marriage to Mary. Her daughter's newfound devotion now seems to challenge that very narrative, perhaps implying that Robyn herself hasn't lived up to the they now wish to follow. What's perhaps most jarring for Robyn is the sense that this change is not temporary. Brianna and Aurora are no longer little girls influenced by their mother's choices. They are young women making decisions for themselves, and those decisions appear rooted in a faith that could carry long-term implications, including what kind of careers they pursue, whom they choose to associate with, and how much contact they maintain with the broader Brown family. In a twist that few saw coming, Robyn, often portrayed as the most controlling and careful of the sister wives cast, is now the one watching her influence wane. Her daughters, who were once considered the most obedient and sheltered in the family, have taken a path that reflects autonomy but also ideological rigidity. And it is this unpredictability, this divergence from her plan, that truly unsettles Robyn. In the end, the future remains uncertain. Will Brianna and Aurora's faith journey bring them fulfillment, or will it create more conflict within an already divided family? Can Robyn accept the path her daughters have chosen, even if it means they're drifting away from her guidance? Or will this spiritual awakening become the next chapter of emotional turmoil in the ever-unfolding drama of the Brown family?